I wish I never clicked that link. It started as one of those late-night rabbit hole things. You know how it is, you get bored, end up scrolling through Reddit, YouTube, whatever. I was deep into some unresolved missing persons cases, reading theories, watching grainy home videos of people who just vanished. The usual creepy shit. Then I found a link. Someone posted it in a thread about the Cicada 3301 puzzles, some deep web shit about cryptic messages and secret societies. The link wasn't to Cicada though, it was something worse. The post just said, "Want to know where the missing go? Click here." I wasn't stupid enough to click it directly, so I copied it into Tor. The site was just plain black. No flashy graphics, no header, just a list of names. Hundreds of them. Each one had a date next to it. Some from the 90s, some from last year, some from 2 days ago. I scrolled, feeling that gnawing anxiety in my gut. Then I saw something that made my stomach drop. One of the names, Emily Vasquez. She was from my city. I remembered seeing her face on missing posters outside my local Walmart. 19 years old, disappeared after leaving work at a Target parking lot. That was only 2 weeks ago? There was a clickable link next to her name. My hands were sweaty as I clicked it. The page that loaded was a video. It was dark at first. Then a shaky camera focused. It was a girl, Emily, tied to a metal chair in some basement-looking place, duct tape over her mouth, eyes wild with fear. She was thrashing, making muffled screams. My heart was racing. I wanted to believe this was fake, some sick horror, ARG. But then I saw something in the background, a newspaper. It was lying on a dirty table, the front page visible. The date was yesterday. This was real. Before I could react, someone stepped into the frame. A man in a dirty hoodie, face blurred. He pulled out a knife. I clicked away, slamming my laptop shut so fast my screen flickered. I sat there, breathing hard, staring at my reflection in the black screen. My hands were shaking. I felt like I was going to throw up. I barely slept that night. But when I did fall asleep, that's when the nightmare started. I wake up in complete darkness. At first, I think I've just woken up in my bed in the middle of the night. But then I realize I can't move my arms. They're pinned to my sides, my legs too. I try to breathe, but my chest barely expands. The air is thick, hot, heavy, dirt. I can smell it, taste it. That's when it hits me. I'm underground. I try to scream, but my mouth is full of dirt. It spills into my throat, clumping against my tongue. I gag, try to cough it out, but it only makes it worse. The more I struggle, the more dirt presses in. It's in my nose, my ears, crushing me. My fingers claw at the wood above me. A coffin. I pound against it, splinters digging under my nails. Number, no. I can hear my own heartbeat, deafening in my ears. I try to breathe, but there's no air. Every gasp fills my lungs with more dirt. I keep hitting the wood until my hands feel wet. Something cracks. My fingers bend wrong. The pain is unbearable, but I don't stop. The weight on my chest gets heavier. I'm dying. I can feel it. The pressure, the suffocation, the panic, turning to something else, something cold. Then I wake up, drenched in sweat, gasping for air. I cough so hard I feel like I'm gonna puke. My sheets are soaked, my heart is pounding. I sit there for what feels like an hour, just breathing, telling myself it was just a nightmare, until I taste dirt in my mouth. I run to the bathroom, spitting into the sink. Dark, wet, muddy. There's actual dirt on my tongue, under my fingernails. That was 2 nights ago. I haven't slept since. I didn't go to work the next day. I barely even got out of bed. My body felt like it had been wrecked. My hands ached, my throat was raw, and every time I swallowed I swore I could still taste dirt. I tried to tell myself it was just sleep paralysis, some kind of stress-induced nightmare. But deep down, I knew that was bullshit, because when I checked my nails again, I found something stuck underneath them. Not just dirt, wood splinters. I stared at them in the bathroom light, my stomach twisting into knots. They were tiny but unmistakable, like I'd actually been clawing at something underground. I couldn't think straight. My thoughts kept flashing back to the website, to Emily Vasquez, to the way she looked, thrashing in that chair. I needed to forget about all of it. I grabbed my keys and drove. I didn't even know where I was going. I just needed to be around people, somewhere bright, somewhere normal. I ended up at a McDonald's off the highway. It was the only place open at 4 a.m. The inside was nearly empty, just a couple truckers and some guy passed out in a booth. I ordered black coffee, extra large. The cashier gave me a weird look. I probably looked like shit. I hadn't showered, hadn't slept. My clothes smelled like sweat. I sat in the corner, scrolling my phone. Anything to distract myself. Then I saw the news article. Body of missing woman found in abandoned lot. I stopped breathing for a second. My hand hovered over the screen, the coffee suddenly tasting like acid in my throat. I tapped the article. Emily Vasquez's body was discovered late last night in a vacant lot behind a gas station on East 17th Street. I knew that place. I'd driven past it 100 times. Authorities say the victim was found in a shallow grave. Cause of death appears to be asphyxiation. I almost dropped my phone, buried alive. I felt dizzy. The whole McDonald's felt like it was tilting. My breath came in short gasps, my fingers tingling. I had dreamed about this. I had felt it. The dirt, the suffocation, the panic. I shut my phone off and gripped the table, trying to steady myself. My hands were shaking so bad my coffee almost spilled. This wasn't a coincidence. I didn't know how, but I had somehow felt what she went through. The realization made my skin crawl. I left the McDonald's in a daze, walking out into the cold morning air. The sun wasn't even up yet, but I just started driving. I told myself I wasn't going to the crime scene. That would be insane. That would be weird. But my hands were already gripping the wheel, making the turn onto East 17th. The gas station looked even sketchier in the early morning light. Flickering sign, boarded up windows. No one around. I parked across the street. Just sat there. I could see the lot behind it. Police tape flapping in the wind. The dirt looked fresh, uneven, like someone had just dug it up. I should have left. I didn't. Something in me, some sick, compulsive need, made me get out of my car. I crossed the street, heart pounding. The air smelled like rain and garbage. I stepped under the tape. The dirt was dark, wet. I swallowed hard, my stomach twisting. This was where she died, and somehow I had been here before. I stared at the grave, something buzzing in my skull. I could still feel it, the pressure, the weight of the dirt crushing my chest. I turned away, breathing hard. My head was spinning. Then I noticed something. There were footprints in the dirt, fresh ones. And they weren't from the police. These were deeper, heavier, leading away from the grave, toward the street, toward my car. I felt the prickle of sweat on my neck. Someone had been watching me. I whipped around, scanning the empty lot, the street. Nothing. But I felt it. That prickling, crawling sensation on my skin. I wasn't alone. I turned and walked fast. My pulse was hammering so hard it hurt. I yanked my car door open, jumped inside, slammed the locks down. I just sat there for a second, breathing hard. Then my phone buzzed. A text. No caller ID. I hesitated. Then with shaking hands, I opened it. You shouldn't have looked. I dropped my phone. My blood ran cold. And then my headlights flickered, like something had just moved in front of them. I froze. I didn't move, didn't breathe. My eyes locked onto the windshield, staring into the darkness outside. Someone, had just passed through my headlights. The lot behind the gas station was still empty, silent. But I knew what I saw. I wasn't alone. I snatched my phone off the passenger seat, my hand so sweaty I almost dropped it. I looked at the text again. You shouldn't have looked. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. What the fuck was I supposed to say? Who even sent this? Before I could decide, my passenger door handle jerked. Not like a light tap, not the wind. Someone was trying to open it. I gasped and hit the lock button again, even though it was already locked. My heart was hammering in my chest, stomach twisting into knots. I turned my head slowly toward the window. It was too dark to see clearly. But there was something standing right outside my car, a shape, a person, just standing there, watching me. I couldn't see a face, no details, just the silhouette of someone tall, too tall, standing inches away from the glass. For a second, I just sat there, paralyzed. Then my body finally caught up to my brain, and I fucking peeled out. I slammed the gas pedal, tires screeching as I tore out of the parking lot. I didn't look back. I didn't want to. I just drove. I didn't go home. No way in hell was I leading whoever the fuck that was to my apartment. Instead, I drove to a 24-hour Walmart on the other side of town, parked in a well-lit spot right near the entrance, surrounded by security cameras. I just sat there, shaking. I checked my phone. No more messages, no missed calls. Nothing. I still felt like I couldn't breathe right. The text, the footprints, the fucking thing outside my car. I didn't know what the fuck was happening, but I did know one thing. It started when I clicked that link. I opened my laptop. The thought of even looking at that website again made my skin crawl, but I needed to know more. I needed to know if I was losing my mind or if there was some kind of explanation. I connected to Tor and typed in the URL. Page not found. What? I tried again. Same result. The site was just gone. I sat back, running a hand through my hair. My head was pounding. I opened Reddit and checked my history, scrolling until I found the thread. The one where I originally found the link. It was deleted. The entire post was wiped, like it never existed. No comments, no trace of it at all. I went to my private messages. I never paid attention to them, but I figured if the person who posted the link had DM'd me, I might still be able to see their profile. There was one new message from no name. I swallowed and clicked it. It was a single sentence. Stop looking or you'll be next. I felt a wave of nausea crawl up my throat. My skin turned cold. My laptop screen flickered. Then my webcam light turned on. I slammed the screen shut so fast it made a loud crack. I sat there, breathless, my whole body shaking. Someone was watching me. I yanked a hoodie out of my back seat and threw it over the laptop. My stomach was in knots. What the fuck did I get myself into? I stayed in that Walmart parking lot for hours. I wanted to believe it was over, that maybe I was just being paranoid. But when I finally worked up the nerve to drive home, I noticed something in my rearview mirror. A car, black, tinted windows, no plates, following me. Not aggressively, not too close, but always there. I tested it, switching lanes, taking weird turns. The car stayed behind me. I turned onto my street, heart pounding. The car didn't follow, it just kept driving past. But as it passed under a streetlight, I saw something. The driver. I only caught a glimpse, but my stomach dropped. He was wearing a hoodie, a dirty one, just like the guy in Emily Vasquez's video. I ran inside my apartment and locked every door and window. I didn't sleep, and for the second night in a row, when exhaustion finally took over, I dreamed about being buried alive. I woke up screaming. I barely remember falling asleep, but I remember waking up, thrashing, kicking my sheets off, gasping for air. My whole body was soaked in sweat, and my nails, my fucking nails, were cracked, bloody. I had been clawing at my mattress in my sleep. I stumbled out of bed, heart racing. My throat felt raw, my chest tight. It took me a second to realize I wasn't actually underground. I wasn't buried. but my body still felt like it, like I could feel the weight of the dirt crushing me, filling my lungs. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. Dark, thick vomit, almost black, like mud. I sat there on the floor, panting, staring into the toilet bowl. My whole body was shaking. What the fuck is happening to me? Then my phone buzzed. I nearly jumped out of my skin. I wiped my mouth with the back of my hand and grabbed it off the sink. Another text. No caller ID. My stomach twisted into a fucking knot. Final warning, stop. That was it. Just those 2 words. I gripped the phone so hard my fingers ached. My breathing was fast, uneven. I should have listened. I should have deleted everything, wiped my browser, smashed my fucking laptop, and moved on with my life. But I didn't. Instead, I did the dumbest possible thing. I texted back. "Who are you?" No response. I stared at the screen, my pulse hammering. I should have just left it alone, but I couldn't. My fingers moved on their own. "Did you kill Emily Vasquez?" 3 dots appeared. My heart nearly stopped. Then the message popped up. "You don't want to know." I felt cold all over. My stomach churned. I started typing again, fingers shaking. But before I could hit send, my power went out, not just my lights. My TV shut off. My laptop screen went black. My phone flickered, then restarted on its own. Everything, the whole apartment was silent. I just sat there, in the dark, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. The only light was from the street lamp outside, barely glowing through my blinds. Then a car engine. I heard it outside, low, slow, crawling down my street. I moved to the window, my body moving on autopilot. Don't look, don't fucking look, but I did. A black car, no plates, rolling past my apartment so fucking slow it made my skin crawl. Then it stopped, right outside. The headlights flicked off. I dropped to the floor, pressing my back against the wall. My breathing was so loud I was afraid whoever was in that car could hear it. They just sat there. I reached for my phone. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely unlock it. I dialed 911. The call failed. I tried again. Nothing. No service. The power was out. My phone was useless. They cut everything. I forced myself to breathe, to think. I needed to get the fuck out of there. I grabbed my car keys off the counter and shoved my feet into my sneakers. My car was parked in the lot behind the building. If I could just make it there, then I heard it. A door closing. Outside. I stopped moving. Froze completely. I listened. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Coming toward my apartment. I backed away from the window, heart pounding so hard it hurt. My mouth was dry, my stomach twisting in knots. The footsteps stopped. Right outside my door, I clamped a hand over my mouth. My breath was coming too fast, too loud. Don't make a sound. Don't fucking move. Silence. For a long time, nothing happened. Then, the doorknob turned. Not a knock, not a bang, just the slow, careful turn of someone testing if it was unlocked. It wasn't, thank fucking God, but that didn't stop them. A shadow passed under the door. They were still standing there, listening, waiting. I backed away, barely breathing. I needed to move. Now I turned toward the back window. It wasn't a long drop, maybe 6 feet to the grass below. If I could just slip out, I could make it to my car and... Then my phone vibrated. The sound cut through the silence like a fucking gunshot. Loud. I almost dropped it. My hands were so sweaty I barely gripped it in time. I looked at the screen. Another text. Too late. Then... The doorknob rattled, hard. My whole body locked up. My throat closed. They were trying to get in. The door shook. I backed up fast, heart slamming against my ribs. Then, bang! A single, sharp bang against the door. Then another and another, until it was non-stop. Slamming, pounding. I turned and bolted. I lunged for the window, shoving it up so fast it almost cracked. Cold air hit my face. I climbed onto the sill, gripping the edge. Crack! The doorframe split. I didn't wait. I launched myself out. The ground hit me hard. My ankle twisted, pain shooting up my leg, but I didn't stop. I scrambled to my feet and sprinted. I could hear it. Footsteps behind me, fast, coming after me. I hit the parking lot, fumbling with my keys. My hands were shaking too much. I dropped them. Fuck. I dove down, grabbed them, nearly dropping them again as I shoved the key into the lock. The second the door opened, I threw myself inside and slammed it shut. Locked it. Silence. I was breathing so hard I felt like I was going to pass out. My hands were slick with sweat, chest heaving. I looked up. A figure stood at the edge of the lot, tall, hooded, motionless, just watching me. I turned the key so fast I almost broke it off. The engine roared to life and I hit the gas, tires screeching. I didn't look back, I just drove. I've been in a motel for the past few hours, some rundown place off the highway. My hands still won't stop shaking. I don't know who they are. I don't know how deep this goes, but I know one thing. They're not just watching me. They want me dead. I haven't slept. I can't. I'm sitting on the edge of this shitty motel bed, my hands still shaking, my heart still pounding like I just ran for my fucking life. Because I did. I keep checking the window. The parking lot outside is empty, but that doesn't mean I'm safe. I don't think I'll ever be safe again. They found me. They know who I am, and I have no fucking clue what to do. The first thing I did when I got here was try 911 again. This time, the call went through. The operator's voice was calm, almost too calm. 911, what's your emergency? I opened my mouth. I had no idea where to start. I think someone's trying to kill me. My own voice sounded like it didn't belong to me. Are you in immediate danger? Yes. Number I don't know, I stammered. They were at my apartment. They cut my power. They chased me. Who is they? I swallowed. I don't know. A pause, the clicking of a keyboard. Can you provide a description? They were wearing a hoodie, I said, my voice hoarse. Dark-coloured. I didn't see their face. Another pause, more clicking. Sir, are you aware that no recent break-ins have been reported at your residence? The words hit me like a brick to the chest. What? We received no calls from your address, she said. No neighbours reported disturbances. And there are no patrol cars in your area responding to a break-in. I shook my head, gripping the phone tighter. That's not possible. I called. Your phone records show no outgoing emergency calls before this one. My blood ran cold. What the fuck was happening? My mouth was dry. My pulse pounded in my ears. They were there. They were breaking down my fucking door. Silence. Sir, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol? I nearly screamed. No, Jesus Christ, I'm not crazy. The operator sighed. I could hear the exhaustion in her voice, like she'd heard 100 unhinged people like me before. Do you need medical assistance? I need a fucking cop, I snapped. Are you currently being followed? I glanced at the window again. The parking lot was still empty. But that didn't mean anything. No, I muttered. If you are not in immediate danger, I can have an officer follow up with you in the morning. The morning? I clenched my jaw. What am I supposed to do until then? You can come down to the station if you feel unsafe. Like that was supposed to make me feel better. But I didn't have another option. I exhaled through my teeth. Fine. She gave me the address of the nearest station and hung up. I sat there for a second, gripping my phone so hard my fingers hurt. I didn't trust it, any of it. But I needed to do something. I grabbed my car keys and left. I kept checking my rearview mirror the entire drive. The roads were mostly empty, just a few semis and late-night Uber drivers. I kept my speed at exactly 5 over, didn't take any back roads. I wasn't getting pulled over, not tonight. The police station was just a few miles ahead. bright, clean, safe. But then my headlights flickered, not a lot, just for a second, like a glitch. I gripped the wheel tighter. My heart started hammering again. Then the radio cut out. The low hum of static filled the car. Then a voice. At first it was too distorted to make out, just garbled noise beneath the static. But then it shifted, low, deep, right through the speakers. It said my name. I almost swerved off the road. My stomach dropped. I didn't breathe, didn't move. The static hissed in my ears. The voice was low, distorted, but human. It said my name again, slowly, drawn out. Then, "We warned you." I slammed my fist against the radio, but it wouldn't turn off. "You should have stopped looking." My heart was pounding. My vision blurred with panic. "You should have never watched." I was almost there. I could see the station up ahead, the blue and white sign glowing under the streetlights. Then my engine died. My dashboard went black. My car shut off completely. Right in the middle of the fucking road, I was slammed forward as my car rolled to a stop. No power, no headlights, just darkness. The static in the speakers grew louder, deafening. I grabbed my phone. My hands were shaking so bad, I almost dropped it. No service. I looked up and saw the black car, right behind me, headlights off, no plates, just sitting there, waiting. I couldn't fucking breathe. My hands were slick with sweat. Then the driver's side door opened, and someone stepped out, tall, hooded, walking toward me, slow, unrushed. I locked my doors and hit the ignition button over and over and over. Nothing. The figure kept walking. I slammed my hand against the horn. No sound. Like the entire car was dead. My heart felt like it was about to explode. The figure was almost at my window. I could feel the panic rising like vomit. Then, blue lights. A fucking cop car. It turned the corner, its siren cutting through the static in my ears. The blue and red lights washed over the street. I blinked, and the figure was gone. I sucked in a sharp, shaky breath. I looked everywhere. The black car was still there, but the driver's seat was empty. Gone, like they had never been there at all. The cop knocked on my window. I nearly jumped out of my fucking skin. "You okay?" I scrambled to unlock the door, gasping for air. My car just died. There was a... I turned to point at the black car. It was gone. The whole fucking car was gone. I sat there, breathless, hands shaking, staring at the empty road behind me. The cop gave me a weird look. "Do you need a tow?" I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. I looked down at my dashboard. The lights were back on. My car was fine, like nothing had happened. I forced myself to swallow. Number. I think I'm okay." The cop nodded and walked back to his car. I just sat there, gripping the wheel, shaking. I don't know who they are. I don't know what they want, but I know this. They're not just watching me, they're waiting, and I don't think they're ever going to stop.